Welcome to the video about works which I finished in February. It's a little bit strange to start filming again. Somehow I feel like I lost all my skills and I feel like a child who learned how to walk. But I still hope that I will manage to tell you a little bit more about works which I did in February. Honestly, I hope that it can be such an interesting video in the beginning of March, because in February I did several works dedicated to St. Valentine's Day. I finished several winter pictures to say goodbye to my winter books and to be able to start coloring in March spring books. And I managed to do several works of which I am really proud of. I managed to retrieve from my flat only several books, so some of the books I will show you, and the rest of the finished pictures, they will be like pictures which I saved on my laptop, but I am sure that one day after we win I will return to my beautiful books. So let's start from Kerberasana's book. In February I colored in Fragile World and I colored in Worlds Within Worlds. In Fragile World I selected beautiful Philippine eagle. You know that I love to color birds. Somehow for me they are easy to color comparing animals, so feathers for me it's less complicated comparing to fur. Here, as usual, I used my Faber-Castell polychromos. I am so happy with the paper in this book because it takes watercolor and it takes pencils quite well. I also love to use Faber-Castell polychromos in Worlds Within, but this one, it hates watercolor. Here, first I also wanted to do watercolor background, but in the end I finished with the whole page done with just Faber-Castell polychromos pencils. I tried to learn reference pictures where this beautiful bird has darker feathers, like long feathers on the wings, on the tail, and where it has shorter feathers like on the legs, on the body. And I tried to study all those beautiful shades of cold brown, almost black brown, reddish brown. So I think that feathers here are quite okay. To make difference in between brown colors which I used on the feathers and color on the bark of the tree, I decided that here I can add a little bit more of reddish shades, because another beautiful thing which I learned about Philippines is that they have beautiful trees with quite precious red wood, and here I wanted to memorize this thing for myself. Well, the most challenging part was how to do the background. In the end I decided to use a little bit of pink and lavender on the clouds and on the sky here between mountains, and I added those waterfalls. I think that in the end everything went exactly like I imagined it, like I wanted to color it, even if the whole background with pencils, it was time consuming. But when you see that everything turned exactly like you wanted it, it's a pleasure to do such a job, even if you need to color the whole background with pencils. So I'm quite happy here. Maybe I had to use more paint, especially on the white and cream feathers here, but I think that even now I do love this page, so I definitely want to continue coloring here, so that's why it was one of my first choices when I tried to collect those books which I will be able to take with me to the new place. The next one probably will be my favorite picture which I finished in February. I selected a page in the very end of the book. It's again some kind of collage, so you can color different things on one page, and you know how much I love to color textures, especially metals. So I selected first various shades of yellow and brown to do all those gears, metal gears on the central part. In the central circle I tried to imitate Egyptian snow with carved hieroglyphs, and I even added those cracks in the surface of the stone. It was quite interesting. I already did several similar things several years ago when I did Egyptian background in one of Hannah Carlson's book. So I used the same color combos, the same skills, and I think that it really helped to make this unique and individual detail for this page. You can see that I tried to use matching colors for the dragon, for the unicorn. I do love the sky element, a little bit of sky here, but still I tried to make it interesting to look at. And similar colors for the modern city and more ancient ones. So again, it was a long story, a long picture to film, to color, but in the end I am extremely pleased how it turned out. I am really proud of it, and even if I don't have many finished pictures here, but everything I finished in this book I absolutely love. And finally, in February I did page in A Romantic Country. It's second tale by Ari. I decided to take with me this one because comparing to the first book, this one has much more interesting pictures for me. And in February I did one page. I wanted to do two, but didn't have enough time. Just need to find. It's very lovely Miss Molly's shop. You know that I love stitching, so when I see something connected to the sewing, stitching, of course I select such pictures on the on the first part. So here it was quite challenging to select colors because we have crazy amount of details. I started from the background, a little bit unusual color for the walls proper maybe, but I do love how it combined with all those beige, yellow, brown colors which I used for the furniture, for the wooden floor here. I do love this area with sketches which Miss Molly has prepared for her future sewing projects, and you can see that of course I tried to attract all the attention of the viewer to this beautiful folk dress. That's why I used quite bright, intense and unique colors for it. I later repeated them in several other areas to make more well-balanced color composition, but still these colors, they are very intense, so of course the whole attention immediately goes to this area. At least I hope so. It was quite interesting to color all those small elements here, buttons, threads, folded fabric, and here I used a lot of acrylic pens to outline them and to make them a little bit more realistic looking. Well, I think that it's also not a bad page. Definitely I enjoyed the process. Somehow it was quite easy to color. Easy, it means that it took a long time, but color selection wasn't that challenging. I was afraid that this quilt could be messed up with the pattern fabric behind it, but because of this yellow ochre colors and a lot of pink, I think that I managed also to make it quite interesting element. So I think that it was a good choice for me to return coloring in this book, and you can see that if as I decided to take this book with me, and I hope that next month I also will be able to color something here. Well, next I will try to do a collage from all my other, not a collage, but in the second part of this video I will try to make a slideshow of my other finished works which I did in February. I want to say once again thank you for your help and thank you for your messages. If you want to support my channel, you can simply go to one of my playlists. For example, playlist which I did in December, where I filmed all my coloring book collection, and when I told a little bit about all my finished pictures, what I managed to achieve, what I want to achieve. I will put a link to that playlist in the end of this video, so you can rewatch it, and in such way you can support the rate of my channel, because you know YouTube, it's always a rate from amount of videos you post, amount of views, and it doesn't matter that you have quite good reasons not to post for some time. So again, thank you for your help, and I hope that the second part, where I will show you pictures of my finished February works, will be also not bad. In the beginning of February, I wanted to color something for St. Valentine's Day, so I checked all my pictures with couples, and I selected first from Meadow Heaven by Adele. I'm so happy that I finally started to color this book. I purchased PDF several years ago, probably because I follow Adele already for a long time after I discovered her art from Coloring Haven magazine, but somehow I was afraid to color her pictures, mostly because they have very detailed backgrounds. And picture with couple which I selected this year also has quite detailed background, which consists of leaves and flowers, but I realized that I actually can color this picture with alcohol-based markers first, and then to work on the main characters with pencils. So that's what I did, and I am extremely happy with the result. I do love colors which I selected, especially for the he elf, for his coat, for his clothes, and I do love fantasy color of the she elf hair. On the second page with couple, I selected in Selina Fenwick Victorian romance book. I love this book. I love how she depicted main characters, their Victorian style dresses. I do love that we have couples in actions, so it's a little bit unusual to have book with such subject. But again, because of the thin paper, I didn't know what to do with the background. Backgrounds are beautiful, but I would say that with paint it would be much easier to color them. But unfortunately, because of the paper, it's not that easy. But here I discovered that for the stones, for the garden, for the trees, for the bushes, I can actually use mix of my Derwent pencils, and especially Derwent drawings. They work not so bad on this paper, and Derwent drawings, they have nice shades of gray, green-gray colors, which are quite helpful for the stones, for the ground. And also I used Derwent pencils for the bushes, for the tree. Of course, most of all, I enjoyed coloring her dress. I think that I managed to catch the brightness of the silk on the upper part of her dress, and I tried to work carefully on all the folds on the fabric. I think that my biggest problem here was to color skin. Unfortunately, on this paper, when I color faces in Selina Fanning book, for me, it's quite complicated to shade. They all my shading, it look like dirt on faces, on hands, on the neck. I think that again it's because of the paper. So now I decided that maybe just one layer, basic layer for the skin, for the fair skin tone, and a very light shading. For me, it will be enough. It's better than to have dirty faces. So unfortunately I can't say that faces here they are very well colored, but everything else I absolutely love. Also in the beginning of February I continued to color winter pictures. I realized that this year and in December I hadn't touched Creative Heaven Winter Wonderland book, so I decided that maybe I can do a couple of pictures in February. But you know, probably my mind, it was already in expecting the spring, so I struggled a little bit with doing snow pictures. On the first one with bird feeder, I definitely struggled with huge areas of the snow. The second one is a little bit better, where I decided to experiment with the unusual color of the sky. I did sky first, then I thought that maybe I don't like the beginning of this coloring, so I abandoned it for a week. Then I decided that no, I want to return to this page and to finish it. And it was interesting because I used unusual color combo for the shadows from all the trees, from the pine trees, from birches on the snow. Previously, I mostly used blue colors. Here I started to blend other colors to make this picture more vivid and shadows more realistic. Probably I wanted to show that maybe we have here early evening time, and at least I added a couple of bright elements here on the clothes of the girl with the dog, on the baby, on the child. I tried also to add some additional leaves and berries, but I don't think that they are visible on the final result. Well, when I finished this one, I realized that indeed it was a final moment in doing winter pictures, and I put this book on the shelf. I hope that in December I will be able to retrieve my book and to continue coloring in it. But still, I have another winter picture. This time I selected one in Karolina Kubikovsky set of postcards. I don't know which animal we have here. Maybe fox, maybe mouse, I don't know, but it's adorable. And I always wanted to do a wintry background, and in contrast to it, nice bright berries with a relatively calm green color on the leaves. It's a mixed media page because to get this wintry look on the background, I used watercolors, I used gouache paints. On the leaves, I used Faber-Castell polychromos, and as usual on the fur, I tried to use Darwin drawings, and again I used polychromos where I wanted to increase shadows and to work on smaller details and texture of the fur. In the very end, I sprinkled a little bit of white gouache over the whole page, and I think that it indeed helped to create the wintry look of the page. Next, I did a very simple, very quick coloring in Braille coloring book. I am glad that I slowly returned to this book. Returned. I had huge plans for March. In this book I wanted to do a couple of projects, but I didn't take it with me to my next place, so I hope that this book will wait for me and one day I will return, and then I will be able to show you my new next beautiful projects here. But this white owl I love. It was easy, quick coloring, but you know that I love to color birds, and I do love here the contrast between her white feathers and dark, intense background. The next picture was a totally spontaneous choice. I wanted to color again with alcohol-based markers, and then I noticed on my shelf this Fantasy Mermaids book by Color Mood Books. Last time I touched it in the May of previous year during the Mermaid, and both pictures which I colored at that time I did with markers and with pencils. So I decided that again I want to do another page with markers and pencils. And I do love how it looks in the end, but I know that I made a couple of color mistakes here. Beginning was good. I selected beautiful blue-green color for the water, and I love how it looks now. I knew that I wanted to do golden tail, but when I selected colors for the seaweeds, for the corals which are attached to the stones, maybe I selected too bright colors. I think now that with more light pastel choice, the whole page would look a little bit more interesting. In such way, those bright colors wouldn't distract attention from the octopus, where I also used similar shades of coral pinks. But what can I say? Sometimes you realize your mistake after you finish the whole page. Sometimes it's better to start from the background, but sometimes it's more complicated to correct your mistake if your background is already done. I played with huge amount of colors on her tail because I wanted to show that it's very shiny, so it has different shades of yellow, orange yellow, brown yellow to show that all the scales are bright and shiny. But also I wanted to show reflections of the other colors, so I also blended a little bit of lavender, lilac, pink. It was very messy during coloring, but the final look I do love. I also love her hair. Again, paper in this book is quite average, so shading on her skin was very light. I was afraid to create dirt, but at least I managed to show that she is not flat, so I can't ask myself to do something else on such paper. Next three pictures are from Gracia Salvon book about Emma. And when I colored them one by one, I simply wasn't able to put this book away. I wanted to color it. And at that moment, I explained myself that it was because I enjoyed paper, I enjoyed using there my Neocolor crayons, my gouache. Also on that paper, I was able to use my rarely used pencils like Kohinoor polycolors. My portrait said they worked really well here. But now I think that I felt some connection with Emma. On these portraits, Emma looks a little bit troubled or distressed, and I think that all those vibes which we started to feel in the beginning of February, that something bad could happen, maybe I also started to feel it, and that's why I felt connection to Emma and I wanted to color her, maybe to express my own feelings in these portraits. Anyway, I am very happy with all three finished pictures. One is breath, one Emma is feeling lonely, but another one Emma feels hope, and for me probably it's the dearest one. As I said, technically I was very happy that on this paper I finally managed to use my set of Faber-Castell of Kohinoor polycolor pencils, which have nice shades for the fair skin tones, but they are very demanding to the tooth of paper, and here fortunately I managed to use them. Another book which really helped me to calm a little bit during beginning of February was Australian Animals by Selina Fennick, and I think that I did four pictures probably. The first one I published in the beginning of February, another one I published a day ago, and in the future I will try to create videos about two more pictures which I uh, colored but didn't post videos in time. So somehow it was very calming to color animals, maybe because it's easy to do your color choice, you just need to look at reference pictures and to select necessary colors for the fur, for the flowers around, and it was quite fun to learn about new animals. I think that now I managed to do my basic choice for this book. I love to use my set of Darwin drawings. Now I finally started to realize how it's possible to use these pencils for the fur, because when I just purchased them, I didn't know how to do texture of the fur of the hair with such thick and creamy pencils. But now I appreciate how they blend, how they cover paper, so really very helpful pencils. Also, I discovered that very nice shades for the fur I can find in Black Widow set for the dark skin tones. so I also use them quite often. And also I even managed to use my Derwent color softs. Sometimes I feel sorry that this set is mostly abandoned because of their demanding demands to the paper quality, but they do have nice selection of brown colors, various shades, more reddish brown, yellow brown, very dark, almost black brown. And together with Derwent drawings, indeed they can be helpful in this book. Also, I started to use alcohol-based markers more frequently, especially for the backgrounds. So I did used markers here on the flowers behind the walls, and in my next videos I also will show you how I use them to complete backgrounds. And finally I finished picture of Epona, Celtic and Roman goddess. It's by Martin Noble from her book Goddesses. You know that it's one of my favorite books. Here I do love pictures. I struggle a little bit with double-sided paper, double-sided pages, but paper quality is not that bad. And I think that already I experimented with various pencil brands, but Arteza and Faber-Castell Polychromos for me probably are the best choice here. This one I mostly did with Polychromos, but I added a couple of shades of Prismacolors when I needed them for the background. Because of the double-sided pages, you have to use only pencils for the background. And here it was a little bit boring. Even if we have beautiful Celtic ornament here, I tried to make it not very contrast, so I used mostly shades of grey, blue-grey colors and a little bit of brown on the trees. But I think that such style of the background helped to attract all the attention to the Epona and to her beautiful horse. I think that green color suits her for the Celtic goddess. I think that it's a good choice, and I think that it complemented her red hair. Also, I am quite happy how I did shades on the horse. You can clearly see that horse is white, but I added a little bit of gray, cream and lavender on shades, so it looks even a little bit magical. So I do love how I colored horse. Probably because all my previous attempts to color horses wasn't very successful, so I think that I slowly learn how to color them properly. Well, I feel a little bit strange trying to remember all the details about these pictures, what I felt, what I used for coloring. It's a little bit like moments from the other life. But I hope that one day when I will return to my flat, all these books and pictures, they will wait for me and we will reunite. Many of you asked me how you can help my channel. So if you want to help, you can simply watch one of my playlists. I suggest you to watch my huge series of videos which I put in the playlist, all my coloring books and finished pictures. All those videos which I filmed in December when I filmed everything I colored and all the books I own. I hope that those videos they were good enough and interesting to watch, so you can play them somewhere in the background and in such way to support channel. Also huge thanks to my Patreon subscribers, to my YouTube membership subscribers. I can't explain how your help is really appreciated, because you know how much it's important to have financial support when you need to purchase things during such complicated times. So I can't express how grateful I am for your support and of course for all your messages. I think that my mornings they started first from checking if all my friends and family in various areas of Ukraine are still alive, And then I opened your messages and I read them, and indeed they were a huge moral support. So thanks to all of you, and I hope that I will be able to upload my old videos which I have on my laptop now, and then maybe I will find uh, inspiration to start coloring something new. Thank you, and I hope to see you very soon.